What it is, handle biz. It's your main man, Spidey Rock, aka Spilly Thrillin'. May not have heard, but I know you're gonna feel him, aka Rick Chan, more fungal flavor for you to withstand. We about to kick it off with a kickstand with another hidden edition of WMOF The Bit. About to get it in. It's master at work that you witnessing. The VGM podcast, feedbacking up like everlast, and we coming in hard with Stronger from the Street Fighter EX original soundtrack. Dope. From the composers Takayuki Aihara, Shinji Hosoe, and Ayako Saso. Woo-wee. Yeah, I think we talked about them on the last show, and they're returning again because this is another edition in the series of the EX franchise. I was a little bit mistaken on the last one. I thought that was the first EX game, but I am mistaken. Actually, Street Fighter EX is the first EX style game. So probably should have led with that one, but it is what it is. You probably didn't hear it anyway, and it's all good. But if you haven't, you can go over to YouTube and check it out. I will be editing that and putting it in a more palatable format because it's kind of rough. But I want to try the live thing to see how it works, and we'll move on from that. All right. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So we're going to enter the Wiki Speaks. Here we go. Street Fighter EX is a 2D head-to-head fighting game with 3D graphics, because you're still fighting on that 2D plane. There's no sidestepping. There's no 3D motion. Actually, I believe that most of the levels are 2D pre-rendered backgrounds, which was like the hotness back then. Resident Evil, Final Fantasy VII, and all these other games, they had pre-rendered 2D backgrounds. But the models were 3D. It was originally released as an arcade game for the Sony ZN hardware. It's a spin-off of the Street Fighter series and was co-produced by Capcom and Arika, and this was the first game in Street Fighter history to have 3D graphics. So, with that being said, real quick, I actually remember playing this game at the Butterfly. Now, y'all gonna hear about the Butterfly all the time. That's like where most of my arcade experiences happen. And then maybe you might hear about Mainstream Arcade, and then maybe you'll hear about Michigan Fun Center, and then if like Dr. Funk's on, he'll talk about Legends, or because that was some of his hits, his spots. Shout out to that brother. Actually, shout out to all the co-hosts. Dr. Funk, Creeper, DZ, all those brothers. Anyway, yeah. So like I said, most of my arcade stories start off. Well, I was at the Butterfly, and I remember just walking around, and I saw a Street Fighter game with 3D, and nobody was playing it. Because I think around the time it was 96, if it serves me correctly, people were still playing Alpha 2. Alpha 2 was still the hotness. That's where all the competitive gameplay was happening, and I remember I used to sit and watch those guys play all the time. And that's part of the reason why Alpha 2 is one of my favorite games. I think, around 5th grade, it was like, the anime thing was becoming more apparent to me. I'd always liked anime, but I didn't really know that I did. But it was kind of like this thing that's like, oh, that's this is anime. You know what I'm saying? Like Dragon Ball Z, I thought a guy was lying about it, and then saw it on Sunday, and I was like, oh, okay. Then Alpha comes with the anime graphics, and then it's like I'm all in the Sailor Moon, so it's just like everything is kind of overlapping and making sense. Okay, I get it. This is a thing. I like this. And when you're in 5th grade, it's like you really are in that, I think I probably pretty much determined where I was going to be when I was about 5. But 10, about 9 or 10, you start really solidifying. So anyway, yeah, that was around the time. So I walked up and said, why isn't anybody playing this? Because at the time, in my ignorance, I'm like, well, it's 3D. It's got to be dope. You know what I'm saying? Because as it's been talked about on many other podcasts, back then 3D was being pushed as it had to be 3D in order for it to be good in the next generation, right? Which was, now that we look back, was a sadly flawed statement. But still, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, with my mind, I'm like, oh, it's got to be dope because it's 3D. So I'm playing it, and it had some dope presentation. I think like the first level I played, it was like I fought against Gao at the airport. I mean, yeah, and I got to hear that Strange Sunset, and I'm like, yo, this is kind of dope. And I'm trying to remember the name of that setup of the arcade Well, you know what, screw it. It's not even that important. But anyway, I played it on this big setup. It was like this, you know, they would have the joysticks like kind of removed from the actual cabinet. You know, on most cabinets, the joysticks are, you got the cabinet, they're directly on the cabinet. You know, the basic black, you know, cabinet. But this one was like this big like setup where they had the joysticks like away from the screen. It was a big monitor, and it was like this kind of trapezoidal type thing, and you know, you could play from kind of far away, so he wasn't right up on it. You had room to play against whoever you was playing against, but also far enough away from the screen so you're not all up on it. I forget what they call this, the display, but I remember I seen that as a nice setup. Nobody's playing it, so I said, I'm gonna play it. I'm playing it. I said, this is all right. You know, it feel kind of weird, and at the time, you know, it was the first of its kind, so I really didn't know that this would be a certain type of gameplay that we would know about. You know, so if we talk about Street Fighter EX now, there's a specific type of gameplay that goes along with it. You would call it broken. You know, maybe not very. What's what I'm looking for? It's like this game, like it feels like it's broken. You can do all these combos, these juggles. It's very floaty, you know, like the physics in the game. If you're playing this game for physics, you better forget about it, right? Just forget about it. You better go play something else. I was gonna say Tekken, but that's a whole other physics diagram right there that we're not even gonna go into. So if you're looking for that sort of thing, you better go play Virtua Fighter or something else. You know, this game is just like, you have fun playing it. It's floaty. It's a good time. You know, I know there's people who can play seriously. But most times, this is a game you play to have a good time. Soundtrack's good. It's dope. You know what I'm saying? And you just you enjoy it. So with that being said, let's go back into some more information. I should really script these things better, but who gets them? So yeah, it was also released on PlayStation as EX Plus Alpha, or EX Plus A. It's the lowercase alpha. But anyway, it was released in 1997. There was one scheduled for 64.97, but got canceled. I had no idea. That would have been interesting. Yeah, but they released another version called EX Plus in the arcade before EX Plus Alpha. So it was released in Japan November 30th, 1996. In North America, December 19th, 1996. And this was on arcade system ZN1. I actually remember, just a short aside on the ZN1, there's an arcade emulator called Zinc, and you can play most of these games on it. I remember discovering that back in my sophomore year of college, and just, you know, I found, you know, this EX, EX2, EX2 Plus, EX1 Plus, you know, Beasterizer, which is Bloody Roar, and all these other games that you could play. You know what I'm saying? Even Soul Edge, Tekken 3, they were all on that same ZN1 system. I had no idea. So these are all pretty good games, man. If you want to, you know, go check out that Zinc. It's a little difficult to play, but, you know, you got it. But yeah, man. Here, you know, just some interesting things about the gameplay. It does have special moves. It does have super combos. It did have 3 tiers of a super meter, and you could either blow through all of them at once or blow through them, you know, separately. So in this one, man, you could do one super combo, go right into another one, go right into another one, go right into another one. Yeah, the guard break move, which is like this pre-focus attack. Is a guard break move where the guy, or the girl, her arm would be sparking, or the kick would be sparking. You can hit them and it breaks their guard. So this was before kind of like focus. I wonder if they kind of adapted that from there for Street Fighter 4. And this game, like I said, is cancel heavy. So a lot of things that you were like, man, you probably shouldn't be able to cancel, you probably shouldn't be able to link, in this game, you can do it. Like I said, it's broken, but not broken in a bad way. It's broken in the sense that it's not meant for that type of tailored, balanced, upper crust play. You know what I'm saying? This is like, no, me and the homies, we about to have a good time. You know, love Street Fighter. It's 3D. You know, it's this game. It's Friday, Saturday. We was at the video joint. We rented it. We seen it. We got some popcorn or whatever, some candy, and this is the weekend. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. So, well, you know, with the roster, as we'll talk about, because there's both Street Fighter characters and original characters as well. Let's see here. For the original characters, and they have voices as well, and it has endings for the PS1 game. For the returning Street Fighter characters, we have Ryu, Ken, Chun-Li, Zangief, Guile. Also, this is on a PlayStation version. Sakura, M. Bison, then you have Akuma, as well as Delscene in the PlayStation. So those are the returning characters for Street Fighter. Now, the original EX characters that we have are Hokuto, which is kind of a Aikido fighter, which is one that you would see in most games. We can probably identify each one of them in each franchise, but Hokuto, Doctrine Dark, D Dark, I used to love that name. Pullum Perna, Cracker Jack, Skullomania. And then I guess these were hidden characters in the arcade version, which I had no idea. Because I only played the arcade version that one time. After that, it was just most of my experience was on PlayStation. So, yeah, Alan Snyder, Blair Dane, who we talked about in the last episode. Kyrie, not to be confused with Kyrie Irving, the basketball player. Darun Monster, which is a wrestler. Opposite, what's that boy name? Zangief. Then some of the characters that we got in EX Plus was Evil Ryu, Bloody Hokuto, which is, I think we see her in Fighting Later EX as well. Cycloid Beta and Cycloid, I have no idea what that is. A Y is Epsilon? I'm not sure. I could be wrong. So, and then Garuda for the PlayStation version. These are, all pretty dope games. Love them. Great music. Great feel. It's just when you play EX, it has a particular feel to it, especially with the music and everything. And that I really feel like sets the table for this, and I really feel like the music is probably a big reason why people really give a crap about this game. Because I do, but that's not everybody. But there's a lot of people who like it when you think about the people in the world. But I'm just saying, I think the music really helped a lot. Because if you wasn't with the gameplay, then you just wasn't with it. You're like, yo, I can't do it. There's a lot of people who was like, why the hell did Street Fighter go 3D? You know what I'm saying? Like, what purpose was that? I don't know, but I think it was interesting. And Capcom at that time, they was churning them out. Like this, around '96, we had Darkstalkers, Street Fighter Alpha was popping, Shadow over Mystara probably was popping, the Dungeons and Dragons joint. I remember having a good time with that. X-Men versus Street Fighter probably was either on its way or somewhere in there. I'm pretty sure they were developing it around the time. Marvel Street Fighter, all these different properties to the point where it's like, Capcom was popping back then in that 90s stretch. You know what I mean? So if they wanted to take a chance, they could take a chance. And it's like, I'm glad they did. I like the experimental, weird type of stuff. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and move in to some tracks because that's what we're here to talk about, God. We don't want to belabor the point because I've spent 20 minutes talking about nothing. So first on the list, we are gonna go into Rising Dragoon. We'll do the Garnet Sky, and then we'll do Arabesque. So how this is gonna work? We're gonna play some of the tracks from the arcade version. Then we're going to play some of the tracks from the PlayStation version. Now, some of the tracks on the PlayStation version are better than some of the arcade tracks. And then some of the tracks in the arcade are dope. And it's like, you want to play both, and I might do that. But it's just like, hey, it's kind of a hodgepodge, and, I can't play everything, of course. And listening to shows like VG Empire, which is like an influence on why I wanted to do this. It's like they usually say on there, Brett usually says on there, it's like, hey, I want to pick every song, but I can't. We be here all day, and then that takes away from you going out and discovering what your favorite tracks are, because I could have missed something. And if I do, you'd be like, yo, man, I really like this one joint, cool. And that's the beauty of it, because you might mention something, and I might be like, okay, that's dope, and I go back and listen to it and hear something that I didn't hear before. So that's what it's all about, man. Different experiences. Everybody has their thing. It is what it is. So we're going to run and do those three, and then we're going to come back. So let's go ahead and line those up. Let's go ahead and do my thing because we got a special way of doing this. So what do we say? Rising Dragoon, Garnet Sky, and Arabesque. We shall return shortly. In the meantime, in between time, take a seat, kick up your feet, and listen to the sounds elite that can't be beat. And here we go. That was Rising Dragon, Garnet Sky, and Arabesque. The last two songs are so interestingly placed. But we'll get more on that later. So first one, Rising Dragon, of course, probably named after the show Ruken, Rising Dragon, or the Raising of the Kundalini Energy. But are we gonna do that right now? No, we're not, because this isn't that type of show. But let's give you something to think about. So yeah, that Rising Dragon hits hard. Sounds very much like a raised stakes of a reused song. You know what I'm saying? Like, it has that urgency of a fight, but it also has the traditional Japanese instruments very well approximated, you know, in such a medium. I think with, like, you can hear, like, excuse me if I'm wrong, shakuhachi, some things that sound like that, and there's some koto sounds, and maybe some maybe a hint of some shamisen. You know, all these traditional Japanese instruments that we hear approximated very well in this track gives you a feel of a reused level, because I mean, it's from Japan, it's doing this thing out there. So I mean, you got to hit those points, and that's what Street Fighter is all about, right? Is about giving you the very thematic world sound of things, very thematic, and I don't want to say stereotypical, but it almost pushes the line a little bit there, but I'd say thematic world type of thing, and it's cool, man. That's what we know and love Street Fighter for. It's dope music, so I mean, we're not troubled by it. So you know, it's very dope. I love it. It's very, you know, blood pumping track, man. You can go out and kick some ass, man. Do a couple hurricane kicks. Like, if I heard that, you know, back in the day, I'd probably be ready to go outside and practice a little bit, which is probably what I would do. I mean, I'd probably go do it now, but I gotta finish recording and I gotta get to practicing a little bit anyway. So, you know, anyhow. But yeah, love Rising Dragon, man. It's a very good fusion, which, because all this music is based on Dash Rock fusion. Very good fusion of rock and some traditional Japanese sounds, and very uplifting and motivating. You know, so if you get in your butt kicked and you hear the song, you may get that extra urge to keep going and to continue. You might be like, yeah, I'm getting my butt kicked, but I can still pull this out. And that's what that song sounds like. Yeah, you know, I'm going through hardships, but I can still rise like the dragon. Punch him or kick him. You're not gonna do that. That was corny as hell. But yeah, more on that when we do the Tatsunoko versus Capcom episode. I'm getting ahead of myself. Boy, Capcom guy. But anyway, so we'll move on to what was next? Garnet Sky. Now, I really like that, man. It has a very Spanish guitar feel to it. Sounds really dope, man. I like how the beat kind of goes with it. It's like you can almost rap over that, man. That's right for a sample, if you ask me. You know what I mean? It's very, you know, fusion, then it goes off into this kind of you call that flamenco type thing, man. It's got that thing, so definitely a very Spanish, you know, sound to it. You know, that's dope. You know, that's all dope. This is what Street Fighter is about. You know, it's about having these levels in these places and giving you this approximation of what that place is supposed to sound like. Borderline stereotypical. I'm not gonna say that it is, but I guess that's the novelty, is like they're trying to approximate as best as they can. But it works. It works in a good way. So I really dig that. You know, I really dig the section that kind of goes into the full-blown, like, string. I guess it's supposed to be strings. That part, I really dig that part too. How it just meshes well with the first part, which sounds like, you know, like it's almost like a kind of hip hop, you know, type fusion thing to it. But that could be. And it, like I said in the previous episode, you know, check out cats like Tony Williams, Return to Forever, Chick Corea, Stanley Clark, Me White, alllll. That's all. Return to Forever. You know what I'm saying? You can check those guys out. And speaking of alllll, he's like, that was his thing. He played the Spanish guitar. So
if you listen to something like Return to Forever, you would definitely hear this kind of influence in the Garnet Sky in it, I believe, if you check that out. And that was always some of my favorite stuff. Return to Forever. So yeah, definitely check out that. And I believe that where you probably hear a lot of that in is called Romantic Warrior. Check out that album. It's one of my favorites. And you'll see why I say that a lot of that gas rock fusion stuff is like definitely a progenitor to game. Not taking credit away from any other influence, but I feel like gas rock fusion is a big. So moving on, we got Arabesque, and I feel that it's very interesting that we have these two songs coupled together. I didn't do this on purpose, but when you think about Arabesque, and you think about the Arabs, the original Arabs, and you think about the Moors, and you think about Spain. So it's interesting that we had the Spanish track going into the Arabesque because there's a connection there, with the Moorish Empire 711, you know what I'm saying, all the way up until 1492. So I think that that's kind of interesting that we have this intersect happening right there, and I could talk more about that, but I'm not gonna do that. This ain't that show, but I could do it somewhere else. But you can look it up. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But I always gotta do the knowledge real quick. But anyway, Arabesque is dope. I love it, man. It's almost like a house or techno fusion with some traditional, Arabic sounds, and I think it's dope, man. I really dig it. I feel like it really captured the. And I should talk about the characters whose tracks these are. I forgot to mention Garnet Sky. That was Garnet Sky was Blair Danes. She's kind of like, I don't know, low key type chick with a lot of cool kicks and stuff. So I guess it fits that assassin vibe with her. I don't know if she is an assassin, but I get the feel that she is. Fits this mysterious vibe in the beginning, like, yo, she's cool. But then the kind of gallant part at the end kind of fits her kicking style. Very flamboyant for somebody who's supposed to be this cool, low-key character, right? So I feel like that track fits her on that. Now moving on to Arabesque, his song is for a princess who is Pullum Turner, young princess, and it's very flippant. Very techno-ish, very, kind of old meets new, as you would expect for a coming-of-age princess in 1996, right? And, she lives in a big old palace, but I'm pretty sure she still wants to have fun and party. So this song, really fits that. And it fits her flippant, kind of warm, energetic style that she has. Even her fighting style is, kind of flippant, energetic and stuff. And it's just like, man, it's kind of hard to hate that character. I mean, unless you're playing against her, she's kicking your ass multiple times, which happened to me when I rented it, But it's kind of really hard to be mad at her character. And it's kind of really hard to be mad at the song. It's just such a good vibe, you know what I mean? And I really feel like the arranged version is dope as well. But it kind of starts off, I'm like, man, somebody could get to this. There's like a remix from Overclock Remix that I want to bring that it sounds like it was a JIT version of this song. It's a very good remix, and I hope that I can play it. But anyway, yeah, so really digging those three. We're going to take a break here, and then we'll be back with more. But until then, it's the masters at what you're witnessing. You're not going to miss a beat here with WMOF. The bit will be right back.
What it is, handle biz. It's your main man, Spidey Rock, aka spi-d Thrillum, aka Rick Chan, both on the flavor for you to withstand. On a break of WMOF, the bit coming through to you lit with that Street Fighter EX Plus shit. Anyway, yeah, we doing a Street Fighter EX soundtrack. Long time coming. They wanted to do this for a long time, and here it is. Really excited about this. Gonna be putting it out probably as soon as I get this lodged into the middle of the episode. Just wanted to clarify myself that when I was talking about the arcade, it was Wizards, not Legends. It's the one that usually Dr. Fun talks about. It's called Wizards, not Legends. I wanted to clarify that. And then the other thing is, at the end of this episode, that particular Overclock remix song that I was talking about is gonna be featured, you know, to close off the show, and that's called Pull 'em Summer Trance Mix 2002 by Ryu7X, a contributor in the Overclock remix community. Now, if you're not familiar with Overclock remix community, it's a collective of musicians all over the world that cover and remix game music. So they've been around for a long time. Back in my days in college, you know, I used to, you know, download a lot of the songs and then put them on CDs because, you know, 8 hours from Tennessee back to Detroit was like, poof. So, you know, you gotta have something to kind of keep you going. So, you know, I have a very fond memory of this track because it's one of the first ones that I ever put on the CD. So, anyway, yeah, so that's Pull 'em Summer Trance Mix 2002 Ryu7X. Check that out. Check out Overclock remix if you're into game music. In closing, I do plan to do more of these and make this a regular thing, and I'm gonna have to really kick myself in the butt and be consistent. So that's the goal. Also, I'm gonna be putting out throwback of the first season's episode 7, featuring Creeper, you know, Dr. Funk, and DZ. So that'll be coming out for the Meanwhile Funkatron side of the game. But yeah, for the WMOF side of the game, if you like it, you know, let us know. You know, we got some more stuff coming in the future. But with that said, I'm not gonna keep it going. We about to do our thing. We gotta keep the music flowing. Don't sweat the technique. You in it with the fresh geeks. Ronin Recordior yours. Bring the funky flavor to you and yours. Are you ready? Are you right? Get ready for the next fight. Peace. Here we go. We're about to go into 3 more tracks. Number 1 is The Light Guardian, Into Cold Pipe, Into Strange Sunset. These are all the arcade versions. All the good ones in the know. And you know, without further ado, let's go. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, and that was Light Guardian, Cold Pipe, and Strange Sunset. Three very good tracks. Light Guardian, that's Ken's level. I think it speaks to his, I guess you want to call it Americanness. You know, got the, you know, kind of organ sound to it. Of course, it's gonna have that organ sound because, you know, most of these music styles come from out of gospel music, and specifically gospel music. If you're speaking about gospel music, you're speaking about black music. So most of the origins of this music, jazz, be it rock or any of this stuff, it's black music. So a lot of black music, you know, started as far as American music through gospel in the church, you know, through blues and all these sorts of things. So you automatically hear it with that organ, you know, and the Ken level representing, you know, the American style, the American music. The origin of American music is black music. So there you go. So Ken, yeah, Ken. It kind of fits his very jovial, kind of, not so much flippant, but kind of light approach to fighting. You know, Ryu, he's the more serious, introspective fighter. As we have Ken, he's the more bombastic, you know, showman. And that's just, this song really fits his demeanor, I think. You know, with the sassy organ, you know what I mean? And kind of that same kind of sound of determination that this song has. Very motivational. A lot of this music is very motivational in this game. Like, whereas you could be getting your butt kicked, but the music gives you this feel that you still have a chance to turn things around. You know, and I would even recommend, like, if you're feeling low, especially like I'm feeling right now, that you listen to this music, man. It could really lift your spirits, and I guess that also has that gospel effect, or that, you know, as well, or that blues or jazz effect, because a lot of those musics, they come out of a struggle. So, you know, sometimes the music was the only thing keeping, you know, the people going. So yeah, I could imagine why this would have those qualities in it. And, you know, that music was made with good energy. And so was this. Like, that's the one thing that I can say that I really enjoy about the game soundtracks, especially coming out of Japan, is the amount of earnestness and heart that they put within the music. And if you need an example of that, I think Street Fighter EX really brings that to the light. For lack of a better term, and no pun intended, since the song's called Light Guardian. You know, some of these parts of the song feel empty, but you have to hear the EX Plus Alpha version, the arranged version for the PS1, to kind of understand. They feel those parts so well. When you hear it, you're like, okay, like, did they leave it empty because they didn't have enough channels and they knew they were going to be able to do that with the PS1 version, or what? You know, it's a good thing to ask. So moving on to the Cold Pipe, that's Zangief's level. Now it's interesting that you had this game coming out in '96, because wasn't, I believe, Tekken 2 around '96, if I'm not mistaken. And this has a striking resemblance to Jack 2's theme. I think it's called like Almost Human or something, if I'm not wrong, on Tekken 2. But they both borrow, if you can hear it, from the Terminator 2 thing. It has that, you know, well, the Terminator theme in general, but the kind of metal clanging, and, you know, I guess that has to do with the pipe and the industrial sound of the whole song. And it's like this mechanicalness, like in the bridge in the last part, you know, with that, it sounds like it's a robot moving, like RoboCop turning his head or something, or, you know, it really gives you the feel of this mechanical entity or whatever, if you want to call it that. So it really, I feel fits the description. It really has a Terminator vibe to it. Not sure why you would give that to Zangief, but I guess since it's kind of like, what, that, what you call my man's, Ivan Drago. If you can remember Ivan Drago's thing where it has that kind of with the breathing and stuff, it kind of has that feel. So I guess maybe it's a call to that sort of energy. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I guess it fits in that angle. Now moving on, you get into Strange Sunset, which is actually one of my favorite tracks out of the whole soundtrack, but I prefer the arranged version. Now this is a straight like jazz number. It starts off with the, as Dr. Funk would say, the bass is kind of walking the dog, as he would say, the doom 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 doom. You know, doing this thing as it's coming in, as everything is building up. Very nice, you know, jazz ensemble piece, I feel like. But it doesn't do the arranged justice. I feel like the arrange is so much better. And this version of the song is still pretty good too. It's something about the arcade sound that I really admire. I don't know if it's the synthesizer and the frequency on it that really, draws me in and brings me to that town. I don't know what it is, but it's something to be said about that part too that I think is really dope. And like, the Light Guardian before, I feel like there's some pieces missing that the arrange addresses. And I wonder, in the original composition, is the arrange like just the ability to use the Red Book audio to bring out the full composition, or was this a add-on? So, these are questions that we could probably ask one day if we ever speak to Ayako, Saso, Shinji, Hosoe, or Takayuki Aihara. That may actually happen one day, so you never know. We'll find out. But anyway, sounds about time to move into the next three. So the next three we'll go into, I'm trying to remember the name of this one track. I believe it's called like Cherry Blossoms. Lumen Cherry Blossoms or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. It's actually written in kanji, so I can't do anything but go off of the track titles that I originally had when I first found the soundtrack. And I'll talk a little bit about that before we go into some more of the stuff. But we're gonna do Blooming Cherry Blossom Blooming, whatever. Stronger. Well, we already did Stronger, so yeah, that was at the beginning of the episode. But anyway, I'll talk a little bit about Stronger right now. So Stronger, that was at the beginning of the episode. If you can remember, this is the track that they played in the trailer for Fighting EX Lair that's out on PS4 right now. So I remember it was a big, April Fool's thing. They brought it on April 1st. But I remember looking at it like, yo, they put too much work into this for it just to be a joke. Like, look at how, detailed the character models are. This isn't a joke. They are really releasing this, but I bet they're banking on the fact that it's April Fool's to surprise people. And I don't even know if that's even a thing in Japan anyway. I had to look it up to see if April Fool's is a thing in Japan. And maybe it was like some weird coincidence or whatever. Who knows? Or maybe they knew. But yeah, I remember hearing that and seeing the levels, like the fallen, temple and everything, and the combos. I was like, oh man, it's so dope. So yeah, Stronger is the song at the beginning. So it looks like we're going into all the arranged tracks now, after we played the Cherry Blossom. So going to play the Cherry Blossom. We actually didn't play the character select thing. So we'll play Cherry Blossom, character select theme, into Rising Dragon. Hold on, player. Here we go. blossom, blooming cherry blossom, or whatever you want to call it. Select theme. Then we went into the arranged version of Rising Dragon. Starting with the blooming cherry blossom. I really like this song. We kind of go into this traditional Japanese sound with this kind of what was it, like 80s funk kind of sound with a synthesizer, almost like a Shaka Khan Rufus kind of beat a little bit that it has, but it's like mixed with a traditional, you know, Japanese sound. With the, you know, I want to keep falling on the shakuhachi, but it does sound like that kind of flute sound, you know what I mean? I believe that's what it's called, a shaku. I could be wrong, but, you know, as far as my knowledge, I think that's what it's called. So, that we had that sound once again. But of course, when you're encountering this sort of thing, the interesting thing about Japan is they're gonna even sometimes sound like they're stereotyping their own music, but it's not really stereotyping. They're adding an element of what is a part of their culture. But like I said, a lot of this music is, you know, approximations of different cultures and stuff, which is dope. Like, cause they kind of make sure they add the essential sounds, so you can't fault them for that, right? But you know, I really like that song all the time. I like the drums in that. I like how the drums change. You know, in the bridge, I really like the bridge of that song. It's very mystifying, especially just the regular one. Now, if you listen to the arranged version, which I think we will get into a little bit later on, there's a little more there. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's a lot more live instrumentation and Red Book audio, so that allows for them the actual live instrumentation and stuff like that. So we'll hear it. But anyway, moving into the character select theme. The character select theme, like that of Fighting Layer, is not one that's like, you know, making you ready to whoop somebody's ass. It's actually like getting you hyped to have a good time, which I feel these fighting games are really about, more so than, you know, technicality and kind of.
What about the competitive scene?
The shit out of your opponent, you know what I mean? Which you can do in this game, like, no doubt. But I feel like there's Street Fighter EX has this wacky, eccentric, unorthodox feel about it, and I feel like it's reflected in the character theme, where it's like, yo, you know, you hype, but it's like, because it's Friday night, you got some popcorn, you got some Mike and Ike's, whatever the hell you eating on, and you know, you got your Faygo Red Pop that you can't spill on the carpet, or your mouth's gonna get in that ass if you do. You know, you know what I'm saying? Y'all know what I'm talking about. If you in the hood, you know what I'm talking about. That Faygo Red Pop, you can't pour that, you can't spill that shit on the floor. But yeah, man. So you know, you got your goodies, and you just ready to have a good time, ready to goof off with your friends and do some insane combos that, you know, in regular Street Fighter games you wouldn't make any fucking sense. So yeah, I think the character select thing was very fitting, very perfect for this sort of universe and for this sort of game. EX is a weird universe. Somehow, a lot of times I often wonder how this fits within the you know, the story or whatever, but it doesn't really matter. That's not important. We just like playing the games. So moving on to the next track, we did Rising Dragon, the arranged version. Now, of course, that version is a lot more full. I don't know if that was the original intention of what that track was supposed to be when they composed it originally, but that last little guitar solo, that every time I hear that, man, I'm like, man, whatever it is I'm trying to do, I can do it. Nobody can stop me. When I hear that, I be thinking about that shit at work sometimes, and I be about to go nuts, and I hear that, you know, they give me that extra, it gives me that extra, you know, go ahead, give me the extra push. So I really admire that, because around the time that I actually was able to snag these soundtracks would have been in college, and there was this one site that I used to love that had all that stuff that I found, and because, you know, I'm in college. I don't have time to go to Play Asia like I would eventually do and get a lot of these soundtracks. Wink, wink. So at the time, I would have to download a lot of these. You know, that's what you did in college. You download a lot of stuff, and then when you had the money, when you got the money, you eventually bought it because that's what you do when you get the money, which is what I did. Wink, wink. But yeah, man. So this has got me through a lot of hard times. Doing projects and rigging programs and stuff that's like you don't know how it's gonna work. Just making stuff happen and just getting the extra jolt. Oh, I don't feel like going to band practice today. You know, I don't feel like doing this. Oh man, I'm on my skateboard. I'm listening to this. You know, probably carrying my cymbals on my shoulder while I'm skateboarding across freaking Jefferson Street or whatever, just to get back to practice or the class or whatever it is I have to do. And listening to this, like I could do it. But anyway, I mean, I don't really have much else to say about the track. I mean, of course, it's more full than the original version. But anything I could have said about the original version, I think I would have to just repeat for this. So we're gonna move into the next 3 joints. One of which does not appear on the arcade because Sakura was PlayStation only character. So got Strange Sunset. Now we definitely had to do that remake because that is so much better than the actual version. Precious Heart, and we will do Light Guardian again because that one is so dope. You gotta hear that one. You gotta hear it. So we're gonna do those 3: Strange Sunset, Precious Heart, Light Guardian, Strange Sunset. That is Guile and Alan's level if I did not mention the first time. Interesting for a Guile level, but you know, whatever. We'll talk about that on the next one. Precious Heart, Sakura, and Light Guardian. That's Ken, like we discussed before. And go. 3, 2, 1. And that was for the arranged tracks, and with that, we did Strange Sunset, Precious Heart, and like Guardian. Accomplished arrangements there. And like I said, I wonder once again if those were the original intents of the composers when they conceived them, or was this like what they added on? Because these arrangements are so much more full than what we hear in the arcade, probably due to limitations with different sound channels and stuff like that. You know what I mean? These are definitely more full arrangements. Shoot, Strange Sunset is so much better than the arcade version. Like, the depth of it, the movement, it's, I mean, it just takes you from one place to another. You know, and you gotta get that sense of a feel in the beginning of stepping outside. It's kind of still hot, and the sun is finally starting to kind of make its descent. You know, it's like, you know, you could kind of still see some mirage here, or like some flickering of things because of the heat or whatever. And I feel that when I first hear it. And then it's like the beat kicks in when that first breeze hits, right? I was like, okay, finally the sun is starting to let up a little bit. And I feel that in the track, and it's dope that they had that for the air base level. I feel it's very interesting. I don't know how that really fits Gal, but I guess when he's not feeling very Top Gun, and at the end is like he probably wants to get down to some jazz. So I could imagine that, you know, that's a little bit more tame, even though he's still trying to flash kick people. I don't know. You know, he's probably out there knocking the freedom right back into somebody's heart. Shout out to that Djibouti dubs.
What about the competitive scene?
They did a Street Fighter animated series dub over called DLC Characters, and that's where that comes from. You know, and also shout out to Nash Grissom who put me onto that. So, you know, gotta give that shout out to him as well. But yeah, man, Strange Sunset. Man, I remember the first time I heard it. Like, I think we were playing Monopoly or something at TSU, and I'm like, damn, okay. Cause like when I played the game, when I rented it, I noticed it and I thought it was dope. But it just like, I didn't know the name of the song. But the first time I heard it, when I was able to put my finger on what the name of the song would have been in college. And it's like, oh, this was that one joint. You know, so it was wild. It was wild. I love the use of the ride cymbals, the synthesizer. Kind of has that Black Butterfly kind of synthesizer sound to it. That, you know, if you're listening to Denise Williams' Black Butterfly, you'll know what I'm talking about. But it has that sound to it. You know, it takes you to a place, definitely. I love the interludes where the beat drops out and it's like kind of like this rhythmic guitar with the piano duet, and you know, and like kind of light drums. I love it. How it kind of dies down and then picks back up, but the hits, dun, 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 like them kind of horn hits, those punches right there. I love that. It's dope. Dun, 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 dun. Can't really, you know, it's a solid track, man. I play that for my uncles. They probably like, man, this is dope. What is this? Oh, Street Fighter EX. What? You know, they probably wouldn't know the difference. So yeah, Precious Heart. What can I say about that song? Like, it's such a great song with the guitar. You know, the saxophone. I think the saxophone really takes the center stage in the song, and the guitar really does it justice there too. As well as like kind of the bells, you know, they give us the nice magical fairy sound, right? Because she is like a magical girl, high school type, you know, stereotypical sailor outfit. I mean, that's what they wear. It's not stereotypical. That's what they wear in Japan. They wear sailor outfits as a uniform. So it fits that Japanese magical schoolgirl type of feel that they have with the you know, and she is pure of heart. You know what I'm saying? She just wants to learn how to fight. She just wants to be like her idol Ryu. You know, who's like the Michael Jordan of street fighting. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you know, it captured that innocence very well. And I can't help but feel that when I listen to the song. Just by the instrumentation and how they handled it. You know, it sounds like a very passionate, innocent hearted young lady, you know what I'm saying? That doesn't really have much of an agenda but to be the best. Definitely captures Sakura, who was actually one of my first crushes after Sailor Mars. I remember Sailor Mars was like one of my first crushes, and then playing damn Street Fighter Alpha 2, it was like, oh, Sakura. So yeah, I mean, by that time she would have probably like been like what, had me by about 4 or 5 years, but still. Somehow I kept aging, and her ass is still in high school. Wait, in Street Fighter 5, I think she's like an arcade manager or something, so I think she did age. We'll have to check. But I think somehow I ended up being older than her ass. But and she was older than me. But it doesn't matter. That's just a little fun stuff. Really dig that. You know what I'm saying? And if you ever watch a Maximilian, you know, preview about what he's gonna do, you've heard this a billion times. If you watch Maximilian do, you've heard his previews about what he'll be streaming. He always uses this song. So if you're wondering what that song was, it's Precious Heart on the Street Fighter EX Plus Alpha soundtrack. And then we did Light Guardian, Ken's Level once again. Also has a special part in my heart, especially in college. Like one of those motivational songs that pushed me forward, man, when things wasn't really, you know, going that good. And like I said about the original, it has that motivational feel. It has that get up and go get it feel. That showman, never say die, Ken, you know, I ain't taking no L's sound to it. But this one is fuller. You know, the synthesizer, it still has that, I don't know, that organ kind of feel to it. But now the guitar is taking more of a hit, and it's more dramatic. You know what I'm saying? It seems more urgent. Now this song seems like, you know, it's a real urgent fight, like your life is on the line, as opposed to the arcade, which seems like it's more kind of goofy, you know what I'm saying, and, you know, lighthearted. But this one is like, yo, the stakes are high. But what I love about this version is the breakdown when everything drops out, and it's just a synthesizer. Do 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 do. Very beautiful, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's another one of those things where I feel like it's like everything seems like the chips are down, but you're digging deep inside, and you reminding yourself like, I am dope, I can do this. And then afterwards it's like, boom, here it is. So, you know, great movement in the song, great progression. I can't really say anything bad about these arrangements. I really can't. So what we're gonna do next, we're gonna move into our last three. I know, I'm sad too, but this has been going on a long time, and I need to take my ass to bed for real, because I gotta get up for work. But we'll do Undertube, which is Doctrine Dark, D-Dark's level. Then we'll do, I believe this is called Spinning Bird by Chun-Li's level, but I could be wrong. It looks like it's more, the first character looks like Tenchi, so maybe it's like Heavenly Bird, I don't know. And then the last one we'll do is the Blooming Cherry Blossom, because that version is way more dope than the original. So we're gonna go ahead and get into it. We're gonna go ahead Undertube, the Chun-Li joint, and then we'll do Cherry Blossom. Is you ready? Is you ready? Here we go. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. That was Undertube, The Spinning Bird, and The Blooming Cherry Blossoms, the arranged version. Now, we got to talk about this Undertube, man. It's such a low-key, smooth, cool, under the radar type vibe. Now this guy Dr. Dark, when I first seen him, like he's like this blonde haired guy. I guess he's supposed to be some type of secret agent. But you know, he's got like this mask on him, pre-COVID mask. So he's kind of been, I guess he was up on this shit about 23 years ahead of schedule, this guy. So pre-COVID, he had the mask and shit already. But I guess if you in the sewer and shit and you fighting a bunch of shit, you need to have a mask on because it's a bunch of shit. Probably going to edit that out, but in the sewer, there's a lot of boo-boo.
What about the competitive scene?
To be, friendly for the kids. So there's a lot of boo-boo in the sewers. So yeah, you gotta kind of keep a mask on so you're not taking in all the fume. But this guy, he's got bombs, he's got blades in his hands, he got strings, he got to get over here. As they used to call Scorpion Spear back in the day, get over here. He's got to get over here type move. So it's very secret agent-y. This song kind of fits that dark, damp, sounds a little bit like Water. With that, that the bass, the way they got it too. It's a very watery sound to it. And I don't know what the yells are in the background. That's kind of weird. Yeah. I don't know if they could like sample the Kung Fu movie or something. It would be fitting. It is Street Fighter, so I don't know what that is, but it's cool. I like it. It fits. And I also like the use of the toms in the bass. Boom, boom, doom, doom, boom, doom, doom, boom, boom, doom, doom, boom, boom, doom, doom. Very nice. Sounds like a marching cadence kind of vibe to it. And we all know how I'm a fan of that. Play percussion in a marching band and concert band and all that stuff, from middle school on up into college. So I'm always looking for sounds like that. So anytime I can get some sound, I love it. But it has a very marching cadence vibe. Boom, boom, doom, doom, boom, boom, doom, doom, boom, boom. Actually, if I had to put my finger on it, and this wasn't a marching cadence, but if I must go back to my TSU days, it actually reminds me of a cadence we had called Detroit Life, written by the legendary Johnny Lane, who wrote a lot of cadences at Southern, big legend at Southern University, but also wrote a lot of TSU cadences, for any band heads out there that's interested in that sort of thing. Actually had the opportunity to meet him a few years in a row. It was dope, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, it sounds a lot like Detroit Life if I had to put my finger on it. But yeah, dope track. My favorite part is the bridge with that bass guitar solo. I should probably just play but I know them by heart because I've listened to this music for so long. But that solo is so great, and in the way that the chimes and the guitars like are kind of backing up, bing, bing, bing. That's prime hip hop sample material right there. Prime hip hop sample material. And in doing this show, I'll probably be giving away a lot of my bars, but hey, it is what it is. Somebody can do that, they can do that. Cause I wish that I could, man. But I'm doing so much as it is. Anyway, moving on to the Spinning Bird. You cannot beat this intro to the song. It's already hard hitting. It's like you already like, yo, this ain't gonna be an easy fight. The way you hear it, like this woman ain't finna cut you no kind of slack. She coming out ready to play. Like Michael Jordan said last day, come out ready to play. That's how this song is. This song come out ready to play, and you better be, or you gonna be dog meat. Because this song, come on, ready to play. It's hitting, you know what I'm saying? Then it jumps into this, like, you know, kind of classical Chinese rhythm that we've come to familiarize with, you know, the headstrong, beautiful Chun-Li, you know what I'm saying? Kind of fits her vibe, like this Interpol cop or whatever, but somehow she's like a teenager at the same time. It's kind of, maybe she's like 19 or 20 or something, you know, but it definitely fits that vibe, and she ain't cutting you no slack. And I love the accompaniment of the, you know, the guitars in the background. It fits very well. You know what I'm saying? Fish Chun-Li, man. You know what I mean? Even the solo at the end, I feel like I like the end the best. Before it's about to go, I need more of that end part. Every time I hear that end part, I'm like, I need more of this. Like, this should have been more part of the song. And it's like, they give you that good part and they cut it off and end the song. But I even like the breakdown, you know, when everything kind of comes out and it's just that kind of little soft part. I love it. So dope. So dope. Anyway, gonna move into the Cherry Blossoms. I love the start. It sounds like once again the marching band thing. It sounds like some quads starting on the song, kicking into the song. Then we come in with this traditional, you know, Japanese sound. Can't think of the actual instrument that it would be. Somebody can correct me. But we coming in with that. I guess maybe it's an approximation, like synthesized version of that flute. But whatever it is, it comes in hitting. And it sounds like a summer day. You know what I'm saying? The level is nighttime, but it sounds like a summer day. And I actually like this level because this is a Hokuto's level. And Hokuto is your Aikido fighter. So I think that it suits her. I mean, in a very kind of obvious way, if you will. But hey, you know, hey, the Japanese are the one who made it, so they like, yo, this is a time for us to show our culture. We're gonna show it that way. So, you know, you want to play, don't play it that way. Great. But yeah, it's dope, and it suits her character of this kind of, you know, like, I'm not really aggressive, but I'm gonna kind of take your energy and redirect it. I feel that vibe from the music, but this version of it is like super hype. It's like a hot summer day in Japan or something like that, and you know, you fighting outside the cherry blossom, stuff is flowing, and you whooping butt. You know what I mean? Just getting it in. And I remember I used to listen to this song when I would watch breaking trailers. Back in the day, I would watch, like, you know, power move trailers, and I would put the song on in the back because it just fit that intensity. And a lot of these arrangements are very much so that urgency that I talk about that you feel in a lot of fighting games, it adds it to that orthodox style, that kind of quirky EX style. It adds the urgency into it where I feel the arcade kind of keeps it fun. Even though this game's still fun, the arrangement adds that seriousness to it, which is dope, you know what I'm saying? But it's still very EX and still very lighthearted, so it doesn't take away from that. But what I love, of course, is the bridge. I like the drum part. You know, just doing this thing, like these solos and stuff. That part near the end, it's like always these parts near the end that they really start going in, and I'm like, man, I need more of that once again. So the arranged versions are good for that. Filling in the blanks and all that, I love it. So looks like we're running into the end of the show. I really love the EX soundtracks, like the composers, Shinji Hosoe, Ayako, Saso, Takayuki Aihara. They really, as my grandma used to say, they put their foot in this soundtrack and the others as well. And we're going to be delving into, you know, EX2, EX3, and then we'll be going into fighting EX later. Now I'm trying to debate on whether I want to just go all the way through each one of the series and keep it consistent, or if I want to do the Game Boy soundtracks. So the reason why I want to do the Game Boy soundtracks is because there's Game Boy versions of certain games where they approximate the arcade soundtracks or the console, and they do it quite well. And I want to showcase some of those. And there will be Street Fighter games. There will be Battle Arena Toshinden, and maybe a Donkey Kong game. But you know, we're gonna debate whether we want to take a break and do that or not, or we want to go straight into the rest of the series. Because after we do this, we'll be getting into that, and then, you know, there's some more stuff that we have in store. So, I mean, it seems like a task of beastly proportions, if you want a hint of what's to come next after the aforementioned things. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's gonna be a task of beastly proportions. So I can't tell you what that is. If you rocking with it, then you'll rock with it long enough to find out what that is. But I'm not.
We're not gonna tell you.
Like X-Men. But yeah, this is Spidey Rock, aka spi-d Thrillin', aka Rick Chamo, Funkin' Flavor for you to withstand. We hope that you enjoyed this edition of WMOF The Bit. Once again, the Ronin Recordior is bringing the Funkin' Flavor to you and yours. Don't sweat the technique. You in it with the fresh geeks. FYP, TYP, coast to coast, sea to sea, galaxy to galaxy. Are you ready? Are you right? Saying goodnight.
What about the competitive scene?